Hello, everybody. What is up? Welcome back to another episode of Tech Support Live. I'll be your host, Angelo. I'm the senior interactive media specialist here at NETGEAR. Wow, I usually don't flub this up. That's
No, you usually have it
man.
nailed.
I usually have it in the bag. It's the virtual background. It's the hair. It's Friday. It's all messing me up. But yeah, I'll be your host for today. I manage the YouTube channel, the Twitch channel. And really, I'm just gonna be your host for all these streams now. So I hope you guys have been enjoying the show. I hope that if you've been finding Tech Support Live helpful, that you're coming back. We do see some of our regulars, Shady Joker,
Yep.
Mike Tonelli. I believe I remember your name. What is up? So if it's your first time here on the show, this is Tech Support Live. So we're here to help you out with really anything that you want with your NETGEAR product. So if you're looking to upgrade your home office, drop a comment down below. We'll recommend a router for you. If you're getting any lag playing on your PS4, we will be happy to help you as well. So
We'll be happy.
drop your comments in. We start at 12, and we'll go really as long as you guys are in the chat needing help. So I've introduced myself. Ben, I'm going to hand it off to you to go next.
Hi, this is Ben, Zardu Ben, MPG Brand Experience Manager, and just excited to be here on this lovely Friday. A lot of you coming back. We really appreciate that. I had something, but I'm just going to pass it off to Michael.
Hey everyone, I'm Michael, Technical Marketing Manager. I spend a lot of my time working trade shows, or at least I did before COVID hit. So I get to handle a lot of the products, do a lot of the setup of the products, and just get my hands on all the new stuff that we have. And I'm here to help answer the questions.
I'm
All right,
Darren, tech support specialist and community moderator. I mostly work online in our NETGEAR community and answer tech questions.
Awesome. So yeah, welcome to the show. Again, if you are just dropping in, this is your time to throw in the questions. As far as I know, I don't actually see any questions yet, so we're going to be kind of here to hang out and just kind of, warm you guys up a little bit. Shady Joker, I see you got popcorn ready. I hope that... And actually, I'd love to hear that. Man, I've heard that some of you guys put us on your TVs and just sit around and kind of watch us hang out for an hour. And honestly, I'm here to see it.
Next time we need popcorn as well.
I know.
Yeah.
We need popcorn.
We could be watching them, watching us.
Yeah, we'll just.
We need snacks. I mean, it is a 2-hour show, so
It
honestly,
is a 2-hour.
it's a lot of times we're kind of leaving these things a little hungry.
I try to carb load before we get on this.
Yeah, frosted mini wheats.
We do have a question. Shady Joker, it's a PS4 question. We should have a bell or something that rings off when we have a PS4 question. Ding, 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 ding.
I think we can do that.
I hardwired my PS4 Pro. My speeds are slower than connected with Wi-Fi. Any ideas? That shouldn't be happening, but
yeah. And honestly, my first question to Shady Joker is how much slower is it? Like, what are you paying for? What are your speeds in terms of your other devices? As in, is it just your PS4 or is it something else? My hunch is that at the end of the day, even being hardwired to a PS4, well, one, that is your best option. We found a lot of people, and I think Shady Joker, you've probably seen it in the past streams, that the wireless card isn't very good. So if you are trying to game wirelessly, some of you guys end up lagging even if you have a good router, and that's just kind of the nature of the PS4's network card. Hardwired should be your best bet. But what is that difference looking like? What is the discrepancy? And maybe we'll be able to do something to help you out here. And also, what router do you have? I forgot if you have an NVG router.
I think he has a 500.
Yeah,
if
there might be something we could do.
And my thought is, have you checked the cable? It could be just a bad cable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if anyone has anything
Are we
else.
planning to return to Russia with NETGEAR products? I don't know. I've been to Russia before. I would love to return to Russia, and I'm growing out my beard, so I could bring all these products like almost like a networking Santa Claus, but that would be cool. No, I don't know. Anybody have anything on that?
Nope, I haven't heard any info one
realize.
way or the other on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure with the COVID thing, that really means things would be up in the air because no new plans are going to be happening until after all of this is over with.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. Like COVID is really kind of thrown a wrench into all of the cogs.
Yep.
So just like you guys were trying to do our best from day to day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Joker's got a update. I've got 250, but I've gone higher. When I'm hardwired, it's about 100. Isn't that the limitation of the port?
No, the port should be a gigabit port.
Okay.
But if it's less than 100, then I would wonder whether for some reason it's not getting the proper gigabit handshake, so it's falling back to the 10/100 speed. If it gets over 100, then it is still using gigabit. It's just really, really poor speeds over that. And then I'd recommend, try replacing the cable because you shouldn't be getting anything down at 100 if he's getting at least 250 on his Wi-Fi, unless the handshake is wrong. And usually that's either a bad port or a bad cable.
Also, may check if you have QoS enabled. Maybe it's limiting the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and see if you have that as prioritized.
Yeah, because I still and I think there's a lot of things we could probably even diagnose within Doom OS, but I think the easiest thing to start right now is try to figure out from a hardware perspective. I think the cable is number one. It either works or it doesn't. It's either old or it isn't. But once we get to the Duma side, then we could probably send you a cocktail of things to try out. So, yeah.
And also try a different port as well. Because if something happened to the port and the port was bad, then check another port just to make sure it isn't a particular port that's going bad.
Mm-hmm. Shady Joker's asking if we recommend a Cat 6 cable for this.
Can't hoit.
Nope. Wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, try it out. Cat 6 cable, you would get a pretty upgraded and pretty new cable for your needs, and then
well, you'll definitely get a higher quality cable because the Cat 6 cables in themselves are usually far better quality than your standard Cat 5 cables.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so try it out. I would say that there's usually a plethora of things to kind of start off here, but try out the cable, and then after that, again, you know where to find us. I see all your comments. Again, it's awesome to see. So thank you, Shady Joker, for coming back in and throwing your questions in. And after this, then we could try to see what we could do in Doom OS, because I think that there's a couple options for you there.
Yeah, I my suspicion is it's a bad cable or bad port.
Awesome.
I'm just gonna put my money down on that.
Let's place bets. All right.
Good.
Real money. Or
Ibran Perez. When I try logging into my XR500 Duma to set up the device, like changing geofiltering and stuff like that, it doesn't let me access or manage it. Are you trying to log through routerlogin.net?
And also some information, do you actually get the login screen, but when you try to log in, it's not, it's saying either your username or password is invalid.
Right.
Yeah, knowing where you're actually getting hung up will help us diagnose it better.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
because that was my first thing is if he's having login issues. If not, then it could be like reset admin password. That's like the first step that I would think.
Yeah. Let's move on until we get some information.
Yeah, yeah. And then we'll keep going, Ibran. So let us know. We'll kind of keep going back and forth. I think actually he did put a follow-up that says yes. So I think this is the first step, just trying to get into routerlogin.net.
Yeah, if that's the case, then you have to reset your login and password.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically you'll have to do a factory reset on it and then rerun the setup. And then you'll have the default admin and password, and you'll be changing that during the setup to whatever password that you want.
Mm-hmm. And Ibran, just so when you do that, actually it's like resetting your router, I don't know if it sounds scary or whatever, but it shouldn't. It's usually just going to take like a few minutes. And then the thing to note is to just make sure that your router name and then, or like, let's say your Wi-Fi name and then the password are still the same. That way you don't have to completely reconnect all your devices and go to your Alexa and your smart TV, et cetera, et cetera. It's just going to automatically reconnect. But what that's going to do is just clear out the credentials you originally set for admin/password to get into routerlogin.net. And then after that, you should be good to go.
Could we have the control booth drop a link to that KB article on how to reset the XR500 to factory?
Yeah, I think so. Man, we got Christine. She's in the clouds.
Yeah,
she's in the clouds somewhere.
The eye in the sky.
So let me go ahead and send her a ping. But then Ibram does say one more thing. He has okay. He's done all that, but it still does the same.
How do I do that reset? We're getting you that information.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and send her a ping, actually. If you guys want to continue on to any other questions, let me just try to...
Next is, let's see, where are we at?
Next one's Angel.
Angel with the, I have a CenturyLink DSL, but it's really slow. What do you recommend I do to enhance the Wi-Fi connection? It's a rental device. So you got DSL.
Yeah, the first thing to do is check and find out what your actual speed is from the DSL, because it may not be your Wi-Fi that's slow. It may just be your DSL connection that's slow, because DSL tends to be relatively slow, especially in a lot of the areas of the world where they use DSL. So if you can hardwire a PC directly into it and then run a speed test, that should give you a pretty good idea of what your maximum speed from your DSL line is. And if you're seeing anything close to that on your Wi-Fi, then there really isn't anything you can do with Wi-Fi, because the limiting factor is the speed that you're getting from the internet.
And correct me if I'm wrong, most DSL is like sub 50 megabits.
Yes, most DSL is sub 50, and that's basically a DSL. If it's really old, if it goes into the standard DSL, which some areas of the world still use, then you're getting stuff that you're talking less than 10.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Now, if it turns out that your DSL connection is relatively fast, let's say 50, and when you check your Wi-Fi, you're ending up with much, much slower speeds, does your rental device, your router, have both 2.4 or 5 gigahertz? And if it supports both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bands, the client that you're using, if it connected to 5 gigahertz, you should be getting faster speeds than the 2.4.
Yep. Cool. Let's move on. Yep. Ali has a question. Fix for RAX 84 port are still missing. The fix, the hot fix is not there. I think that's the question.
I believe we have support tickets open with Ali. I suggest keep working with support on that. They have good contact with engineering, and they'll be able to work with you.
Okay.
Perfect.
And then let's go down.
So we got Khalifa, I think, next. Sorry. Thank you, Michael and Darren, for the help. I was able to get Christine to, or at least Christine, she just pinged me saying she's going to be dropping in some of these KB articles to help you guys out in the chat. So thank you, Christine, up in the sky.
Yep, thank you, Christine.
Khalifa, we got you up next. So you're asking, do nodes talk to any node or nodes to routers? If node number 1 is closer to router, does node number 2 connect to router through node 1? Is this through mesh?
I think he's talking about Orbi.
Okay.
And the nodes would be the Orbi satellites. And the answer is yes. If node 1 is closer to the router than node 2 is in a line, then node 2 is going to talk to node 1, then node 1 is going to talk to the router. But if you happen to have them at, let's say, 45-degree angle from the router, and node 1 happens to be slightly closer than node 2, if you trace the path, it's still going to be faster to have node 2 talk straight to the router. But in a straight line, yes, you can daisy chain it down. And we also recommend that if you're going to daisy chain, don't have more than 2 satellites in the chain. So from the router out, you'd have the router going to satellite 1, then going to satellite 2. If you put 3 of them in a chain, satellites in a chain, you're going to start seeing some degradation in your speeds because it's taking so long to hop through all of them.
Michael, isn't there a setting within Orbi that you have to select and make them daisy chain?
You shouldn't have to now. I think that they've got that automatic in the firmware.
I remember when we first launched, there was a setting. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So just to clarify, we don't have to add in any setting. It's
Nope.
It's automatic.
No, it should already be in the firmware already set up to recognize the configuration that you have.
Perfect.
And there's a follow-up comment. Keep Genie, please. Don't kill it. Unfortunately, we have no control over that, and Genie is going to go bye-bye.
Yeah.
Yes. But they should be migrating more and more features that you see in Genie over to the Nighthawk app as time goes by, because there are some features in Genie that people love that currently aren't incorporated in the Nighthawk app.
That's correct.
And then Nighthawk app support question on top of that is, will it support Russian language? I know that it's translated into, it should be translated into the 11 most common languages. I think Russian should.
Right, except if we're not selling product in that country, then chances are it's not on the list. Okay. And I don't believe we're selling any of the Nighthawk routers
in Russia,
which means they wouldn't have added it to the list yet because it's not actually being sold there.
Okay.
But it's good to know that this is something that you're looking or something that we want to hear from. So this is something that I think that we could pass on to our product team, and then just in case that we do hear any updated news in the future, we'll be able to send that right by. But I think it's good to know, honestly.
Yeah, you can be pretty sure that once we start selling Nighthawk routers in Russia, they'll automatically add that language in, because it is one of the primary languages that we used to at least put in our products.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Wow. There's a lot of you watching. 24 of you guys watching right now. 5 thumbs up, 1 thumb down. How did we get a thumb down for 20 minutes? We've only answered 3 questions.
So if you guys send
R9000, is it going away? And if so, what's replacing it?
Yes.
If it was going away, we couldn't tell you what's replacing it.
Well, actually, if you look, pretty much it's out of stock in most of the resellers out there right now. And there's a lot of other products that can, compared to it. The XR700 is a great example. It's based on the same hardware design as what the R9000 is. So if you're looking for the R9000, the XR700 is a great replacement for it. And if you're using the fiber optic connection, that's the only consumer router we have that does have the fiber optic connection.
That is true. This 7. Thanks for the thumbs up. 1. I don't know who we failed. Was it that we're not selling in Russia?
It was the intro. It was
the intro? Did we stumble on the intro? What else? Is it because we killed Genie?
Oh man. Hey, you know what? But I think we're up for it. We haven't I hope not too many times we've been stumped on the show, so we're out here to provide you quality answers. And again, as long as we hear you guys in the chat, we'll be able to continue doing the show. And if you give us a thumbs up, we're going to be able to make sure that this stream gets into more of you guys' watch feeds, because the more people that see it, the more people that participate, and the more we're going to be able to do this. And go ahead.
And the more quality programming like this that you're going to get every Friday.
If I my CPU is at 30%, so if I'm a little choppy, that is why. I'm gonna try to see what I could do to kind of fiddle around with it in the background, but man, I need a bigger brain.
It's 10% less than it was last week. You were at 40 last week.
Last week was almost on the verge of crashing, so as long as you're here,
especially right at the end.
So I can't use fiber with other routers. No, you can use fiber with other routers, but you'll. Michael, how would you want to explain that?
Well, let's see. Which question are you looking at? Debbie's?
No, Khalifa. So I can't use fiber with any other router than the 9000 or the XR700.
No, there's two different pieces of fiber. Most of the time when people talk about fiber with their routers, they're actually talking about fiber from their ISP, their internet service provider. And that's something that comes out from outside your house into your modem, which has a fiber port. On the R9000 and on the XR700, they actually have a fiber port on the LAN side, not on the WAN side that goes out to the internet, but on the LAN side. So if you had devices that have a fiber port on it, like for instance, there's ReadyNAS storage devices that NETGEAR sells that have fiber ports, you could actually plug the ReadyNAS directly into the router the same way you would with an Ethernet cable, but you'd be using a fiber cable to do it. So you have the fastest connection within your local LAN from that device. But on the WAN side, that's a completely different idea with fiber. So if you have a fiber modem, you can connect any router up to your fiber modem because they're going to be using standard Ethernet cables to connect to that. It's only on the LAN side that we were talking about on the fiber connection with the R9000 and the XR700.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, so we have Debbie's question, which I don't know how we missed. We recently purchased a NETGEAR Nighthawk Smart Wi-Fi router R7000 to hopefully boost my AT&T Uverse router. AT&T tells me to route the NETGEAR and then the R is due to encryption. Any suggestions? She's having issues with Hulu buffering.
Yeah, normally there shouldn't be a problem with that because the Aries is going to be hardwired into your internet connection, and then your R7000 is going to be hardwired into the Aries. So from that point on, if you're going wireless, then it's just the wireless connection from the R7000 to the device that's trying to play Hulu or any of the other streaming services.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the first things I was thinking is just ensuring that you don't have double NAT. So if you plugged in the R7000 to your AT&T Uverse router, make sure that you do have the proper settings to one, essentially bypass the AT&T router modem combo unit. I'm assuming it's a combo unit
Yes.
because that's what I got going on at my house. But I think a question is, should we recommend either setting that the gateway, the AT&T gateway, to bridge mode, or disabling the Wi-Fi, and then just ensuring that the only Wi-Fi name you have in your house is the one that's coming from the R7000?
Probably the easiest or the first step would be is if you can get in there just turning off the Wi-Fi in the Aries router modem or gateway. Because that's quick and easy check. And if you still have problems, then it probably isn't going to fix things. Usually having a couple of routers in your home shouldn't conflict enough to cause problems. Mm-hmm. Then the next step would be trying to put the Aries modem into bridge mode, and you need to talk to AT&T on how to do that. I remember we had a similar question last week and checked, and when you switch those devices into bridge mode, if you're using the VoIP portion, if you've got the triple play where you're actually using voice on the gateway as well, that VoIP should still work even when you put the router portion into bridge mode. And so that would be the next best step, is putting into bridge mode, connecting the R7000 to that, connecting up the Wi-Fi of the R7000. And that's about as clean of a path as you're going to get from the R7000 out to the internet.
Perfect. So yeah, Debbie, let us know if, one, any of this advice helped you. So just to kind of drill it down, if you possibly can, set it, one, to disable the Wi-Fi. That's the first step, and that's the easiest step, and that's usually something you could do pretty easily by logging into your AT&T router. Second step, you still have issues after that, set it to bridge mode. So essentially bridge mode, what it'll do is it'll turn your gateway into a bridge. It's just going to bypass through that, your internet connection is going to bypass straight through the gateway and just make sure that your router is handling all the work. And if you still have issues after that, then I think we could probably dig in a little bit and further diagnose. But in the meantime, yeah, let us know. We'll be here pretty much for the next hour and a half. So if you have any follow-ups, please send them through.
And then Dan has a question. Any idea why I can connect to my REX 5400 on the 5G, 5 gig, but at the same time try the 2.4 and I get an error of no network connection?
Any way I connect to that?
As long as the actually no network connection on your 2.4, can he actually connect up to the 2.4 with the Wi-Fi, and he actually has a connection. So say, for instance, he's connected on the 2.4 and can go out to the internet, Google, or any other website. But when he's actually trying to log into the modem, it's basically saying no connection, you can't get in. With that, we probably would want to dig a little bit deeper and get some more information about that. When you're trying to log in, what browser are you using? Have you tried another browser? Maybe the browser itself is cutting you off. And so a little bit more information as to whether you can get out on the 2.4 except logging into the admin screen, because I haven't seen that particular problem going through one band as opposed to the other. So more information probably would be helpful. Anyone else have some ideas?
No, I think that covers that.
And just to kind of confirm, so why I could connect. So it seems like the 5 gigahertz connection is okay, but at the same time, the 2.4 gigahertz is given no internet connection. That's just kind of for me to kind of understand the question. Is that correct? 2.4 isn't working.
If it's being able to log in to the router, that's one thing. If it's getting no internet connection on the 2.4, then there's definitely a problem with the 2.4 connection. Mm-hmm. And you can change the Wi-Fi band or the Wi-Fi channel the 2.4 is on. That would be one thing. An extreme thing to try, but sometimes is the fastest way is to do a factory reset and then just run through the setup again and see if that fixes it. Last suggestion in that same type of thread would be to actually download the latest firmware on the router and then manually reflash it again in case some firmware corruption has happened.
Mm-hmm. Also, do you think maybe it could be an issue with Smart Connect being enabled and he's still able to see the 2.4, but it's not really there?
That's possible. It shouldn't be showing the 2.4 at the same time, but if it is, that would be a corner case problem. Yeah. Because the 2.4 wouldn't actually be a valid connection to connect directly through, because Smart Connect would be controlling that. So turning off Smart Connect's another thing to try, and then see if the same problem comes up. But if it works fine at that point, then we know that there's a bug in Smart Connect for you for some reason still showing the 2.4 when it shouldn't be.
Perfect. Let us know.
And then let's.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, I was going to say the next question of Hefe. Hefe's had a couple of issues apparently. One being that he had ordered an Orbi setup, I guess a week ago, and it's just going to arrive on Monday. Hefe, a lot of our shipments right now due to COVID are a lot slower than what they're typically. So I appreciate your patience.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Then he ordered an Orbi add-on satellite with the voice. Curious what the with voice will do for me in a router satellite. Can I control other items in my network like Sonos and Hue light bulbs? It's actually with voice, isn't that the
that's the Orbi Voice on the
DB Orbi Voice, which has actually has a fantastic speaker setup, and it's also Alexa enabled.
Right.
So
Alexa controlled devices, you'd be able to use that to control them the same way you can with any other Alexa device. If it's like for Google Home, it wouldn't be able to control that because it doesn't actually support Google. It's strictly on the Alexa platform.
But it will act like a Sonos.
Yes.
So any music that you're playing, it'll come through there. Mm-hmm. And you can use it for like listening to news programs, podcasts.
Yep.
It gets fantastic sound.
It's Harman Kardon.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it for a little tiny satellite, it puts out some big volume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we actually worked directly with Harman Kardon for about 9 months, optimizing the speakers that they put in that for the Orbi Voice, just to get the best sound quality out of it and the best bass out of it.
Yeah, the bass response is really good.
Yep.
You wouldn't think for tiny little speakers, but it does pretty good. So that's what that's going to do. It's basically an Alexa controller and a speaker all set up. Plus, it's also giving out internet instead of just like some Bluetooth or internet speakers where they're just sitting there doing speaker stuff.
Yep.
When you're not using it, it's still pumping out Wi-Fi as a satellite to your area. So, and tell me if improving ping functions will be added to the XR500 on the release of the Xbox Series X console. Well, don't know when the release of the Xbox Series X console is. We do know that we are upgrading the operating system for all of the XR routers to Duma OS 3.0. And if you were watching on Wednesday, we went through a lot of those features. We'll be adding another one of those programs sometime in the next month, and kind of a continuing series. But we are right now beta testing the XR500. When that's through beta testing, we'll be releasing those features out to everybody. But there's so many features that are going to make it so much easier, so much better. It's really, not to sound overly selling it or overly simplifying it, but it's really a game changer.
Yeah, and I'm also
Keep an eye out.
sure there's consoles and games when they do come out.
Yeah, and the Series X is probably the most important console release this year. So we'll definitely be paying attention to that, and also getting you information on how to best optimize your XR router for that.
Awesome. Yeah. Because I forgot if there was a release date for that one. But it should be coming soon. And the great thing about Night Hyper Gaming is that we will be working with the NetGear guys to ensure that all the settings as they start rolling out the new consoles, that's probably going to include any games coming out for the PS5 as well, new games coming out on PC. It's constantly updating, and we're going to be consistently rolling out new features to help support these two consoles as we go to the next generation of gaming. So really exciting stuff.
Yep. Pretty cool stuff. I'm excited for the Series X. I'll just I have been a long time Xbox gamer. I have the Xbox X right now. I'm excited for the Series X. Backward compatibility, just the capability of the machine, and Xbox really does pay attention to their connection, their Wi-Fi, and their wired connection. That's where their bread and butter is through Xbox Live and online play. So it's pretty awesome.
Awesome. And sorry guys, I know my CPU is kind of jamming out a little bit. I'm gonna do what I can to kind of disable any of these. I had to actually disable the video, so hopefully things will be clearing up a little bit, just a little bit. But we're trying our best here. But thank you for sticking with us. And then I did want to do another shout out to Hefe. I know I see a few of your comments in here below regarding the Orbi Voice that's on the way. So keep an eye out for the tracking number. I believe Christine, she was able to send you over any additional information according to your unit. So keep a lookout, coming out on Monday. And yes, just to kind of echo some comments, the Orbi Voice should do very well for you if you have a lot of smart home kind of IoT devices that you're looking to control with Alexa, because that's exactly what it is designed to do.
Yep. In fact, I have one about 5 feet from me to the right here.
It's connected by the cable, huh?
Of course.
I just want to shout out to Ricky B, who we helped last week with that flash firmware issue. Wi-Fi has been working without a problem, and you're welcome. Hefe, thank you. That's what we're here for. In this crazy world right now, it's sometimes hard to get by done through email and whatnot, and that's why we're here, to try to help you guys out, by providing a little bit of a face-to-face, at least face-to-text support.
Awesome. I want to shout out Dave for telling us he got 3 EAX80s yesterday. Very impressed.
Excellent.
That's awesome. That's something that we've been seeing where, well, one, people are very interested in this. Wi-Fi 6 is going to be a pretty consistent conversation going on at these shows, especially these live streams. So we're really, really working hard to make sure that, one, I don't know how many other range extenders that support Wi-Fi 6 are on the market, but we want to be first, and we want to make sure that you guys are having a quality experience with it. And just stay tuned. We actually have our next Wi-Fi 6 event. It is for business, but that's coming up for next Tuesday's virtual event. And then stay tuned for even the week after that. This hasn't been announced yet, but we're going to be taking a deep dive into our Nighthawk Wi-Fi 6 products. So you'll be able to talk to the guys who actually designed and manufactured the products that everyone is buying in their homes today. So stay tuned. All right, we got Ricky B. I hope I'm still not as jittery. I think I'm still a little jittery. But we're gonna try our best here. Hello. You got the R7960P Nighthawk X6S reset to factory settings, flash firmware. Oh, okay.
Yep, we already did Ricky.
We already did it. Oh, thank you.
Yep. And then Hefe, thanks. Come back next week. That's what we're here for. We'll help get things set up. Hopefully it goes with a. I'm wishing you a very smooth installation. Yep. But if come back next week, let us know. Did it go well? Did you have questions? That's what we're here for. I think we're back to when add VPN service, ExpressVPN, NordVPN service. Today only hide my ass
services and dashboard.
Yeah. XR5. I don't know if that's a question or a comment.
It's a question. He's asking when are we going to add other VPN services into the XR500 support?
That is something that we could take as a suggestion. I know that we were opening it up to other VPNs, but I'm Darren, I think that you can use any VPN as long as they use Open VPN. Is that correct?
Yeah, I thought we added that feature into the XR500.
I'm pretty sure that you can.
Mm-hmm. So I do know we had hybrid VPN already by default on the XR500. But yeah, I think there should be a way to integrate another VPN service outside of hybrid VPN.
No, hybrid VPN actually works with your VPN service. Okay. So allowing you to pick and choose what's going through your VPN service. But we have it opened up to it's open to any VPN service that you choose. So you shouldn't be having that issue.
Yeah, I'll have to give that a try. I actually have NordVPN, so I can see whether or not I can get the XR500 set up on that.
Yeah, and also, Michael loves doing these tests.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's how we all learn.
Yeah, he has his own lab. People.
I haven't seen my lab in weeks.
I know.
It's no fun.
Are we at Brendan?
Yep. Yes.
R8000, if you have 32 devices per Wi-Fi channel, theoretically, is that 32 wired or is that 32, a max is 64 devices on both wired and wireless?
That's only wireless. On wired devices and wireless added together, you could have up to 254 devices because it's a Class C IP addressing scheme. In reality, though, you're not going to have anywhere near that amount of devices because the CPU and processing power wouldn't be able to handle that many devices. But for your basic question, yeah, it's 32 devices per Wi-Fi channel and then any number of wired devices connected.
Boom.
Perfect. Wow. Super solid.
Yeah. Super solid. Ray says, is there a way to figure out why traffic becomes extremely slow with both hardwired and wireless connections? Need a little bit more information. What what device, what model, router, modem are you connecting through? I know you have a follow-up. For example, mobile devices and computers are slow. If you switch to cellular, it works as expected. I have 1 gigabit connection via Comcast. Comcast lately has been off and on. I'm paying for 600, and I get somewhere between 350 and 7 at any one given time, depending on the time of day. So I think it's just the demand load on the Comcast network with everybody being home. That could be part of the reason, but yeah, let us know, Ray. What NETGEAR device do you have, and how that'll steer us in the right direction to kind of figure out how we can help you. And
So,
then
I do see a follow-up from Ray. So he says, for example, mobile devices and computers are slow to browse websites. So if you switch to a cellular connection, works as expected. So you got a gigabit down. But yeah, as Ben mentioned, it would be great to know what
700.
The 700. Oh wow. Okay.
So okay, so you're seeing slowdowns on the wireless, mobile and computer slowdown browsing websites.
Yeah, so it sounds like wired and wireless is slowing down through the router. When he switches over to his cellular network, then he's getting whatever cellular speeds that he's expecting. But that's almost an apples and oranges, because you're using two completely different networks when you're trying to actually connect up between cellular and your router. So a lot of Ben's questions are very pertinent as to what hardware you've got. The XR700, you said, Ben?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's got an XR700. It could be. It seems like there's slowdowns, right? And my next question is where is the router located? Because these routers, especially the gaming routers, they need a little bit of air to breathe because they're doing a lot of processing. So that would be a question. Let's see.
Usually a website timeout.
Yeah.
And then I'm curious to see if Ray, you put any QoS settings, anything on anti-buffer bloat. There's probably like a hodgepodge of things that we could probably take a look into how Doom OS is set up. But let's say you disabled anti-buffer bloat, disabled QoS, just kind of start clean. This is gonna just be able to kind of help us diagnose the issue a little bit more.
Is the gateway in bridge mode? That would be my next question. Where the gateway is just acting just like a dumb modem, and the XR700 is doing all of the no QoS, and the 700 is doing all of your routing, your heavy thinking. Darren, do you have any suggestions here?
Yeah, I'm thinking if he's using a Comcast gateway, that it is like double natted, or maybe the Wi-Fi is still enabled. He could try to change Wi-Fi channels on the router as well. He says that the website's timeout.
Yeah.
Could it possibly be a DNS issue, Michael?
It could possibly be a DNS issue, but I know I've seen this when I've had bad network connections, where it's just the connection itself has either stopped or dropped down dramatically. Usually it's stopped, and that's what's causing the timeout, is it's starting to connect up and then it just dies. So I'm looking more towards something else in the system besides just DNS being the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is this something that we might want to have support take a stronger look at?
That would be a good idea, because there's a lot of pieces that they could look at to see if they could narrow down exactly where the slowdown's coming from.
So Ray, below our channel information, there is how to open up a support ticket. Make sure that you put in where's it? Tech support live in subject, I think. Is that correct?
So it is.
Stay connected.
Yeah.
Stay connected.
Yeah.
If you throw hashtag stay connected.
And make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
could,
make sure that that's in there. And so we'll get you the help that you need. I think there's a couple of issues that are a little bit more complicated than we could probably. We could keep spitballing, but I don't think that's going to help you.
Mm-hmm. So stay tuned. Yeah, Christine, our girl in the control room, she'll be able to get in contact with her team to help you out there on this side. But yeah, please let us know, and then even if we're able to resolve it, or you want to continue next week, we could do it as well. There you go.
Yeah. And Ray, just submit it through. Christine's in the control booth out there in the cloud. She'll take care of you. Like this is we'll get you a response.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Yeah, we want to get you set up and running, just because we want a router that's going to work for you. So thanks for sticking with us.
And then I think we're all the way back to Dave, who would like to replace his router with something which will coexist nicely with his EAX80s. But I'd like to be able to have VPN in and out and open ports to make services public.
The answer is the RAX80.
There you go.
It's right in there. It supports OpenVPN right now. And as far as opening up ports and redirecting ports, you have the full control like you do with any of our other routers. So you can set specific ports up for specific services.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. And then I think you said it as best as you possibly could, Michael. So thank you.
Uh-oh. Apparently Michael and I are getting static on our...
Yeah. Let me, you know what? I was trying to fiddle around with it while you guys were kind of answering some questions. So apologies for that. I don't know why, but my CPU is back down to 15%, but I think it's something with the encoding. So let me fiddle around with it. You guys...
hey, you tried turning it off and on again.
Oh, I would love to do that. I would love to do that, but we're gonna disappear. So let me fiddle around with the encoding settings a little bit, because this is kind of killing me too, watching this. So let me see what we got.
Yeah.
Yep. It doesn't have anything to do with our new overlay, does it?
You know that it. I think in reality it was more with the introduction of cutting you guys out through Zoom. So we used to do it a little bit simpler, but now there's more elements layered on. We're trying to do this a little bit fancier, a little bit cooler. But let's see what we could do here. So really hope I don't break anything. Let's see. But I'm gonna keep fiddling around with it, and hopefully it's gonna kind of loosen up a little bit.
Okay. I think we're back to Brendan. Does the EX7000 hardwired in AP mode increase the R8000's processing power and enable extra connections over and above the 2x32 channel, or is it just a signal splitter?
That would just be a signal splitter. It wouldn't change the number of devices you can have per channel.
Okay.
But that's a great question, by the way. I am like amazed at some of the questions that you guys come up with. Like, there's some great questions. Oh man, somebody else is unhappy too. We got 2 down today. No, you guys have come up with some really good questions, and as always, we'll either research it, find out, or try to get the greater team on it. So, but keep the questions coming. They're fantastic. I think we're at.
Well, Ricky B says he enjoyed the video over IP panel on Tuesday.
Oh, awesome.
And he wanted to thank you for doing the events.
Yeah. Thank you. That one was a really exciting one, honestly. It was great because John Henkel and also Alex Pendleton as well. They really are pro AV geniuses here. So we'd love to have them back, and we'd love to be able to continue doing these kinds of events. And again, that's on Tuesdays at 12 o'clock to anyone who hasn't heard of the virtual event series, essentially what we're trying to do here is bring the trade show booth to you. Unfortunately, we're not able to do as many events. Actually, we're not able to do any events because at some point we're going to forget what events are. So we're bringing them virtually. And we call them NETGEAR virtual events. You can kind of see it up there. That's the overlay we're using here today. So Tuesdays, 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, that's going to be our next one. We're going to be talking about Wi-Fi 6 for business. So stay tuned.
Yep. And I like to give a plug to myself and say I actually set up one of those video over IP systems in our corporate headquarters with a big 3x3 wall of monitors, and using the video over IP system that John Hinkle was talking about. Between myself and another one of our coworkers, Derek, we spent our time getting that up, and it looks great. It's in our main lobby. Awesome stuff.
It's awesome stuff. So yeah, if that's something you want to see, please throw a comment. Throw a comment on our socials. Throw one in here. That's what we love to see, and that's something that we're going to be able to pass on to our product team to be like, hey, let's do more events. Let's keep doing them. So love to hear it. All right. I did want to shout out Hefe. So thank you again for coming into the show today. So this is something that I guess I'm just going to be doing my pitches for the hour mark. But if you do want additional help for next week, please feel free to come by. We'll be back again 12 o'clock to 2 p.m. Pacific time for next week as well. So thank you for tuning in.
Let's see. Shady Joker is saying that the three of us are static and you're fun.
Wow. And give myself the VIP experience. Here, let me, I gotta just really turn down my encoding settings, I think. It's like my,
well, that's the opposite for us. The three of us sound fine, and he sounds static to us.
Yeah.
I know. Oh, man. All right.
Is it your bit rate? Do you have to drop the bit rate a little bit?
Yeah, I'm dropping down the bit rate. I'm really just trying to get my computer to stop thinking as much. And let's see here. Yeah, I'm dropping down the bit rate, so hopefully we're able to kind of see a little bit of an improvement. I think I'm sounding a little bit better because this is going straight into the microphone. I have the little Yeti mic. There we go.
So there's some comments about the Russian market, and just asking if it's possible that there's somebody from our support that is at least a Russian speaker, because they only answer in English, and there's many buyers of our products. So I think they're trying to set up a XR500. Did you return the support manager's call when calling for help in Russian? That's something that we can check into, but I don't think that we have any Russian speaking support.
I think the closest is our EMEA team, and then they're really kind of based in London, but we're still kind of everywhere in terms of the EU. So,
yeah, the difficulty is that we don't have any market support in Russia right now. We can look into that.
Yeah, it's tough for us. I wish I could be a hiring manager. And
we'll have to talk to support. And if you come back next week, we could definitely have I think some sort of update or answer for you.
Yeah, I just got the answer. We don't have any Russian speaking support.
Well, there you go. Yeah, unfortunately.
But in case you were able to, or let's say you want to get your problems resolved on this show, again, this is something that we're going to be doing every week. So even though we might not have the resources available right now to answer support calls in Russian, hopefully we could make this a little bit more of a open international show, and then try to get your issues resolved here. So again, we're actually not that big of a team here, but we're here to do this every week. So if you have any specific issues, please feel free to drop it in now, and then we can help you out.
Yeah, one of the issues is the crackling sound.
Oh, it's my issues, man. Come on. I got you down to 800 kilobits per second. Let's see how much lower I could go.
And then Brendan's asking about Wi-Fi 6.
Yeah.
Michael, you
I
want to
can
take a
jump right in there.
big jump
Okay.
on that?
Yeah, there's actually two different Wi-Fi 6s. There's Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6E. The Wi-Fi 6 still, yes, just uses 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bands. It changes the way that it actually talks to other Wi-Fi 6 devices. So there's additional improvements on the number of devices it can support. And if it's talking to a Wi-Fi 6 phone, the battery life on the phone when it's connected up to it will last a lot longer and won't be drained as much when it's trying to talk to it. Wi-Fi 6E brings in the 6 gigahertz bands. And so once Wi-Fi 6E gets launched and devices support that, they'll be able to use the 2.4, the 5 gigahertz, and the 6 gigahertz band. It's basically opening up another lane on the highway, a slightly faster lane than the 5 gigahertz band. So that's the difference.
Well,
Is that with Wi-Fi 6E, or is
That's Wi-Fi 6E.
Yep, perfect. Yeah, so that's going to open up that extra band. So, yeah, really, the IEEE, they do some magic voodoo to open up the other bands. And, you know, just keep a lookout for what's going to be coming down the line soon. But really, that's kind of like where I could kind of see it. The RX200 that I have is a tri-band router, and it's really helpful for people. Well, actually, let's say a guest that comes over. They're just like, oh, which one do I connect to? And I'm just like, choose whichever one you want. Like, you know, it's nice to have a little bit more choices, and it frees up anything that may be congested on either one of these bands. So keep a lookout for that soon.
Yep.
Shady Joker question, Warzone question, great question. You can't get it any lower than 59. PS4, you're wired. There's been some, like, I don't know about you, but I've been having some issues with Warzone servers where last week I went to do a Warzone stream on Friday for us, and I was stuck in a lobby loop, and where it kept Xbox One, okay, and I was in a lobby loop on my Xbox One X. And IP6, you know, it's not going to lower your ping, but what it's going to have is a lot more stability when you're in Xbox Party Chat and in game. What IPv6 is going to do. So Xbox services, all of the things that Xbox is sending back and forth between your Xbox and the servers. It's going to have that room to send all that information over IPv4. 59. Maybe geofilter a little bit more. It could be your location versus the server. Coming up in Duma OS 3.0, we're going to have this ping heat map, so that way you can kind of see which servers you're actually connecting to, which are better than the ones that you have been connecting, and which ones are, I would say, like grade A, grade B, or grade C. And then you can use your geofilter to actually fence in those. But right now, yeah, check your geofilter settings. See if you make those kind of adjustments with the server pings. 59. I'm seeing right now probably average about like 42 to 50 this week on Xbox. Just because I don't know what they did in this latest update, but it's like we're seeing a lot of party kicks and a lot of random dropouts during games as well. So it could be on their side.
Yeah, I did do a quick check, and it looks like there's quite a few posts out on Reddit talking about high ping rates on Warzone right now.
Yep.
And they were July 29th, 30th, 28th, so right around now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of gone up. I don't know what happened in that latest server update over the last week, but last Friday I couldn't get in to save my life. Hopefully I get in later today. So.
Yeah.
Angelo, we're caught up. You got any?
Got more filler questions.
Filler questions.
Well, I actually have a question.
Yes.
Has anyone actually tried using a external USB-C chassis for an M.2 storage module?
That seems rather specific.
It's a new thing out there. Haven't tried it myself, but I'm thinking, to replace USB sticks using an M.2 module, hooking up to USB-C, you just get blazingly fast speeds. So I wondered if anyone had tried it.
Really? Wait, there's a chassis over an M.2. And then
What's the maximum speed of USB-C?
I think 6 gigabits per second.
That's actually
6 gigabit. Yeah, because I have an M.2 in my computer right here.
Yep,
but
and it's fast.
Yeah, I just always assumed they were all kind of, I don't know. It's a little mini SSI, or sorry, not like SSID. Wow,
it's like internet. A memory. It's like a memory chip.
Yeah. It's not like a SSD. Well, it kind of is, right? It doesn't have any moving parts.
And there actually are companies now that are making external chassis that are slightly larger than the USB stick to be able to put that in, and then that converts it over to USB-C. Wow. And I'm thinking of trying one of those just to see how cool it is, but wondered if anyone else had tried it.
It's external M.2.
Yeah, it's external. Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's just a adapter connector.
Wow. I wonder if it's still pretty fast through USB-C.
It definitely seems to be, fast on USB-C. The only comments I saw from people that have tried some of it online is depending on the M.2 module they got, the amount of heat being generated could be fairly high. I mean, it would get pretty darn warm. Someone actually put an ice pack under his just to keep it cool enough.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I love the days of the cool overclocking your PC and all sorts of like ridiculous ways of like cooling your PC.
And Ricky B, he actually says in the chat he has a USB-C with M.2 SATA. So
excellent. How's it working, Ricky?
I'm gonna fix an encoding thing here, and I am praying that I don't break anything. So thank you guys.
Fingers crossed.
I'm gonna move from. Hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna move from hardware to software.
Okay.
So if anything happens, just pray for us. I got options here to say be right back on the stream, but this should hopefully help us out here. Let's see.
All right, let's catch up. So Brendan's got a question on Nighthawk app. There's different connections have different link rates. What does the link rate represent on the connection quality, or how much data is being used? Oh, excuse me. And the follow-up to that is I noticed that my smart plug, which does not have much of the link rate of streaming, smartphone of 75 Mbps. So he's getting different link rates.
Your smart plug does not have a link rate of streaming smartphone. Here, I just want to make sure I got this. On the Nighthawk app, the different connections have different link rates. What does a link rate represent? Okay, so I'm wondering on the Nighthawk app where we're taking a look at this. Is this on the speed test functionality? Oh wait, I'm looking for my phone. It has the chat open. Yeah, does anyone have any insight as to how link rates are conveyed in the Nighthawk app?
Yeah, I haven't used that on the Nighthawk app. I'm wondering, normally when you're talking about link rates on the actual Ethernet ports, the link rate is whether it's a 100 megabit, whether it's gigabit, whether it's faster than that. Normally it's just gigabit or 100 megabit. I'm not sure what they're representing though inside the Nighthawk app. We'd have to look at the app to see what it's doing.
Yeah. I'm actually...
Gotcha. Yeah, let's see if we could dig into resources on there. I actually haven't dug too much into link rates in the Nighthawk app.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it's trying to represent. Have to actually look at it.
Wow, you got us stumped, Brendan.
Yeah.
This never happens.
A bit of a thinker. Yeah, if you will. Well,
so I'm wondering if this is on the, maybe on the device manager here. I'm actually going to quit out of the chat just so I kind of log into my router and kind of dig in and see what we're looking at here.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get.
Well, while we're doing that, I'll answer Ray's question about the Cat6 and Cat7 cables. The big difference between the two cables is the throughput speeds, or maximum throughput speeds on them. And normally, when you're going from a Cat6 to a Cat7 cable, the Cat7 cable is going to be of a higher quality than the Cat6. But it is mainly the maximum speed rate that the cable can support. But it does mean that whatever it's connected to has to also be able to support those speeds. Just going to pop up. The Cat7 can support up to 10 gigabits per second over a 100-meter run of cable.
Oh, wow, that's good. That's actually really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, so I'm kind of just looking at Brendan's question. So this is a cool detail because honestly I haven't really dug in here too much. But when I go to Device Manager on the Nighthawk app, let's compare my Google Home Mini. My Google Home Mini has a link rate of 72 megabits per second, right? So small device, probably not that powerful. 72 megabits per second probably makes sense. But let's go ahead and look at my phone, which is an iPhone 11, which is Wi-Fi 6. My link rate is 1020 megabits per second. So that's a lot. And let's look at the Surface Book. That is hopefully chugging, but not chugging as much, but it's still kind of chugging. But it's also Wi-Fi 6 enabled, and it is 1200 megabits per second. So
yeah. So all the link rate is it's just telling you what your current speed is to the device.
That's cool. So. Brendan, just kind of coming from your comment there, so it seems like the smart plug obviously is probably not as powerful compared to your smartphone. But that is the connection that it currently is that a real time connection? The link rate is that
it's basically it's sort of an instantaneous look at the link rate. What's your current link rate right at the time that it's looking at it?
That's really cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Well. One, I learned something new.
Yeah.
But Brandon, I hope that answered your question here. So it's just gonna tell you exactly your connection speed between the router and your client at this moment. So yeah, your smart plug is just not as powerful as your smartphone. Apparently, maybe in the future we'll get there, but.
And normally smart plugs don't require that much of a throughput, so there's no reason for it to actually have that high of a bandwidth, because the data that's going to the smart plugs is minimal at best.
Perfect. Cool. So yeah, Brendan, let us know if you have any more questions. But yeah, I'm happy that we were able to kind of get us unstumped.
Yep.
Let's see here.
Oh, and to add one more thing to Ray's question on the Cat6 and Cat7. Part of the reason for it to be able to do the higher speeds at longer distances, that 100-meter, is because the frequency that they're using on the Cat6 and the Cat7 is different. The Cat6 is doing 250 megahertz, while the Cat7 is doing 600 megahertz. So they just increased the frequency going over there so it can carry more data.
Perfect.
Yeah. And since it's on a cable, as opposed to doing wireless, you don't get the negative effect of your speeds going down over the distance, because it's not lossless, but it's close enough to lossless over that time period, or over that distance, the 100 meters. And those are mainly used for data centers, not really for the home.
See, this is cool though, because honestly, I've been probably borrowing Ethernet cables from my old router from my old router, and I just got a bundle of them in my closet. So I should man, what am I doing? I gotta study my stuff and mess with my setup a little bit more. Cool. We got one more follow-up from Brendan. So link rate is the connection speed or the download rate or internet quality from that device.
That's normally that would be considered the download rate, but it's your connection rate. It's actually a tested connection. How quickly is it getting data across that line at that point in time? So you could test it right now and you might get 67. You could test it, say, at 3 in the afternoon and you might only see 50. It's going to vary depending. It's just that instant in time, what speed are you actually getting? And since your Wi-Fi between your client and your router is normally bidirectional. It's not like to your ISP that unless you have fiber, your upload speeds are usually automatically lower than your download speeds. But for your internal Wi-Fi on your LAN, the upload and download speeds should be basically the same.
Perfect. Yeah. So something good to look. Make sure you're keeping an eye on your devices that are on there, but also the connection quality that does have. I'm gonna keep looking here and seeing the difference of my Alexa devices versus everything else we got going on the network. But it's really interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
We got a question on XR500. Whether opening ports on the router will improve ping. Recommended open ports for Xbox Live as well as for playing Call of Duty. These ports are opened on the router. Will ping decrease? Well, you shouldn't have to do that because you should be able to set up priority for Call of Duty and also your Xbox device through the Doom OS. So you shouldn't have to be manually opening up ports. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's going to do much. I don't know.
Yeah, normally, unless it's having a hard time finding your game console, opening up the ports is not going to have any effect on your actual ping rate. Yeah. That's more of just it having problems actually finding the console.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. Yeah. But in any case, we're happy to help offer any advice to reduce your ping rate. So even if it might not be about opening the ports, if your ping is really, really unworkable, then let us know what those rates are, what those numbers are, and then we could help you dig around Doom OS because it is really powerful software that should be able to get you going in terms of the gaming you want to do.
And there's a couple of different ways you can go about it.
Awesome. Cool. I think we caught up again. I changed the encoding settings at least like 3 different times during the show. I know it was kind of killing me with the static, so hopefully it's getting a little bit better. I think I'll probably be able to hear from you guys the next time you guys are talking, but it seems a tiny bit less staticky.
We still get some clicking in there, but it's not dropping as many frames, so it seems to be better.
Perfect.
Yeah, it seems to be better on this side. I don't know if it is on the other side.
Yeah, but please keep us tuned in. This is a live show. This is an interactive show, so even if there's some bugs, you know that I'm doing my best to keep it going. We're down to essentially our last kind of 40 minutes. So please, if it's your first time here on the show, this is your time to ask questions until
also
next Friday.
Give us a like down below.
Please give us that like.
We
want to keep on doing this. We do these streams a lot and we learn a lot from each one we do. But I hope this is something that is available to you guys because I think, I think we love being able to help you guys out and get you guys up and running. And I'm sure you guys just want to, make sure all your stuff works.
Brandon has a follow-up.
Yep.
5G use more battery power than 2.4.
The answer is yes. Yes, it does.
It does.
Yeah. What it is that you're trying to push more data through over the same time period. So pushing more data through means more power has to be used to push that data through. Obviously, the amount of power that it's using is going to be affected also by distance as well. The farther you are from your router, the more power it has to put out. And the weaker the signal gets, the more power it's going to have to put out. Since 5 gigahertz has less of a range than 2.4 and is affected by objects more, it's probably going to have to bump up its own power just because of the distance and objects that it's going through. But yeah, between the amount of data it's pushing through and the fact that it has to put more power to actually go through walls and other obstacles, you are gonna see your 5 gigahertz go down faster. If you end up getting a Wi-Fi 6 phone and you have a Wi-Fi 6 router, you'll notice that your battery power overall will be going down substantially slower because the phone, they've optimized the way that the Wi-Fi 6 phones talk to the Wi-Fi 6 router, so it doesn't have to constantly be talking to the router and pinging it as often. So it cuts down on the amount of power usage dramatically. So that's a big benefit of Wi-Fi 6 when you get a Wi-Fi 6 phone.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. No, it's a really good explanation of it because I think that's something that a lot of people don't really realize is like, yeah, when you move over to Wi-Fi 6, all right, let's say getting faster speeds or maybe less congestion. But battery life, that's a really big benefit that I think people are going to get, especially as once their new devices start rolling out, like the new Dell laptops, the iPhone 11 that I have, and even the Surface that I'm running this off of. It's a really big benefit to, one, get those faster speeds, but hey, you get other benefits too.
Yep.
Awesome. We got one from Reclamped. Wow, we are good on time. What are some good routers that I could use for a fiber optic connection?
Unfortunately, we don't sell any routers that actually connect directly into fiber because most of the ISPs have that all locked down. So they want you to use their gateways to connect into their fiber. And part of it is so they can control the firmware and make sure that it works, perfectly with their systems, so they don't have to worry that a third-party device is actually causing the problems and it's not their system that's causing the problems. So at this point, we don't have any fiber gateways that you can connect in, except in one country in Europe where we did modify information in the router specifically to work in that country. I don't remember which country it was, but I do remember seeing we did that once as a test.
Yep.
But other than that, no, we don't have that at this time.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's possible to recommend something that, let's say they have, because I have fiber through AT&T, so I am stuck on their gateway, but, if as long as they're able to connect through Ethernet, is that still a possibility here?
Oh yeah, then you do what we've talked about before, which is go through and put their fiber optic gateway into bridge mode, and then connect one of our routers to that. And then the router is taking care of all of the internal LAN connections and Wi-Fi. And the only thing that fiber optic modem is doing is being their connection out to the internet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In which case, XR700 would be great if you're a gamer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would recommend the XR700. I would recommend some of the Wi-Fi 6 products.
The RAX80, the RAX120, and even the 200 if you want to go to the top of the line there.
Yeah, true.
Let me, and maybe this will kind of help me with my stupid encoding issue. I'm going to switch over to scenes here. Oh, there's Google. But hopefully maybe my CPU kind of takes a break a little bit. So I'm going to kind of float up here for the RAX, the XR700. So this one is actually still a Wi-Fi 5 router, but if you are a gamer, this is gonna perfect. So we're in the same situation, reclamped. So I do have AT&T fiber. I'm not able to use a. I want to change my modem, but these ISPs, they're not gonna make it very easy for you. But if you're a gamer here, the XR700 is our highest end router.
Breaking up again.
Yeah.
Oh, let's
I
see.
think we lost all. We're a white blank screen right now.
Let's see. Can you still hear me?
We can hear you.
I don't know if they can.
Okay.
Screen came back up.
Yeah, your screen came back up.
It's chugging. It's okay. It just takes 3 minutes to load a web page connected to four guys or three other guys around the state, and I got my smartphone with the chat in front of me along the two different laptops. But I think it's gonna load in like 6 seconds. Okay. This is the best of the best when it comes to gaming. I would say if you do like gaming, this is your best bet. But my other recommendation is I personally run an RX 200 AT&T fiber. That gives me actually a full gigabit connection. So I'm actually running this whole entire stream wirelessly. And mind you, the lag is coming from my CPU, not the network. So
need a better computer.
I know. Man, who would have thought, man? Like this is a dedicated streaming laptop. But yeah, REX 200. Maybe I could actually load it up here, but I'm worried that it's gonna chug even more. But I'll probably show you in a quick second. I just kind of wanted to give my I thing here, a little bit of a breather here, but I'm gonna float up the RX 200. This is something that I personally love, just because the Wi-Fi 6 devices that I'm running off of, including my laptop, including my smartphone, and I pretty much assure you, like, the newer game consoles that are going to come out are going to really start looking to support this new wireless standard. So give it 10 seconds. Let's see how fast the brains can run. Man, it is
slow. Are you using a Mac or a PC or?
I'm using the PC. I'm using it's a Surface Book 3. That's what I got.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, I think honestly I just gotta fiddle around with the encoding settings. I think it's just kind of like it's we got high definition video coming in, but it's gotta process it down.
It's got a down process.
Yeah.
Maybe I think we might have to downgrade what's coming into you.
Yeah.
From stuff that might help.
I think you could see it now.
What's the best extender for an XR 500? I'm gonna say the
EX80.
Yeah, EX80.
Yep.
Phenomenal. 4 ports. It's future proof because it can go up to, I think, tri-band, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to use one of your bands to backhaul for your network. It's fantastic. I recommend it.
Perfect. Yep. EX80. That's the newest and the greatest. But reclaimed. I just wanted to close that one out. Extra 700 if you're a gamer, RX 200 if you are looking to get the most juice out of your network. That's one I personally use here at home, and it completely gives me and all my housemates in a pretty relatively large home, 3,000 square feet, 3 stories, without a lot of issues here. So yeah, go ahead and check it out. And thank you for sticking with us even while I'm switching between these different sources.
Technical issues today, yeah.
No, that's why you're lagging. Your other roommates are gaming in the background. They're not telling you.
Honestly, that could be it. That could be it. Sometimes I'll notice it's like we start off super smooth, like I think we did today, and then sometimes when I hear chitter chatter, it's like, oh, the music starts. Someone's watching Netflix. Something's happening. This is why NPG helps, so I could block everyone else. But perfect. Thank you. Shout out Shady Joker. Giving it a try. Also, thank you for the kudos a little bit earlier. Reclaimed, let us know if there's something else that we could help you out here. Obviously, I think with fiber, we're going to recommend you something a little high end, just because with most fiber networks, you usually get pretty high speeds with that. But if you want something a little bit lower spec, we have to help you out there too.
I just lowered from HD to I hit the setting in Zoom to not have HD.
Oh, perfect. No, thank you.
So
I'm gonna fiddle around with it a little bit more too here, but hopefully you guys are still able to kind of hear and see us just okay, even if it might sound like we're from 2006.
Yeah. It sounds like you're running the T-Pain app.
Running the T-Pain
every once in a while. So
no, but it's all good.
Yeah, you got a little bit of vocal distortion.
Yeah, and the next question up from Brendan. He came up with on my R8000 on the list app. It shows only 3 wired items. Do NETGEAR switches show up as wired devices? And should devices plugged in the switches show up? The devices plugged in the switch should show up. The switch itself should not show up as a device, unless it's a smart managed switch. And even then, most of the time, they're hidden from your PC. But when you use their app, you can actually see them. But for standard dumb switches, no, they're just acting as traffic cops and pass-through devices.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So according to the Nighthawk app, just to confirm, it'll show the switch, but it won't necessarily show the devices wired up to that.
It should show the ones wired up to that, because
okay.
They're all getting IP addresses, so those should actually pass right through the switch to the app.
Do NETGEAR switches not show up as a wired device and shit devices plugged in? Okay.
Yeah, the switches normally won't show up because they're not getting actually assigned an IP address unless they're a smart switch. Any wired device plugged into them will be getting an IP address, so it should actually show up because it's just information is just being passed right through the switch to your router and then to whatever device you're running the Nighthawk app on.
Perfect.
And if it's not showing devices that are connected, that's a different story. That means that there's a problem happening, and it's not just devices that should never show up in the first place.
Yeah. So, Brendan, just to drill down, the unmanaged switch won't show up, but if you do have a managed switch that is getting an IP address, that will show up. As long as they're getting IP addresses, they're going to show up in your app.
They
Perfect.
should.
Cool. Wow.
Well, we're about a half hour caught up again. Yeah, so if you have any questions, get them in. Do you have any fillers?
Any fillers? Let me see here. I feel like there's some news.
Thesaurus.
Yeah, there's some news recently with the next gen, aren't there? So Xbox did their showcase. I'm trying to think of like what happened recently since we last talked. Xbox had their showcase.
Yeah, Xbox had
Sony
their
had theirs
showcase. They of course there's a Halo coming out. I'm super I think apathetic.
Yeah. For the new Halo.
For the new Halo. I'll go on record. Halo 2 is the best Halo. I just feel like that there hasn't been a lot with Halo, and also like Halo's got a weird spot now in the world of multiplayer games because my experience for Halo was like I'm shooting somebody, I got rid of their shields, I got rid of their armor. Now I'm working on their health. Now I'm dead, and because somebody was doing the same thing behind me. And I feel that it's a slower paced game as compared to more of the modern, multiplayer shooters. I don't know how they're going to modernize that. It's still fun to run through the campaign, but the last one I ran through the campaign, but I didn't play any multiplayer. And then Destiny, even though it's under a different studio, Destiny was kind of an extension of that. So, and Destiny 2. So, I'm surprised that they did a State of Decay 3. I'm a huge fan of State of Decay 2. They're still going to support that, but it was just a teaser, no gameplay. That looks pretty cool. A bunch of indie stuff. Xbox is really good at supporting a bunch of indie stuff as well. So, what I'm waiting for is seeing how is backwards compatibility is going to work with some of the games, and if Warzone is going to have some upgrade to that. So we'll see.
We'll see.
Wow.
But,
Brendan and Ross got a bunch of questions here.
All right, let's do it. Let's see what we got.
Let's go.
All right, Ross. I got a Nighthawk R7000. I had to downgrade the firmware to 1, which is 4 versions behind, as the newer versions, the Wi-Fi seems to crash. Not sure if I should buy a new router or hope for a more stable firmware. Any suggestions? Worried about running older firmware is less secure. That is correct. Had a look on the NETGEAR forums, but unfortunately it's a common issue. Wi-Fi is unstable on the most recent firmware versions. Yeah, so I'm wondering, maybe Darren, I don't know if you've seen any chatter with the R7000 on community in terms of any dropouts, anything going on with the R7000 in specific. Obviously, we want to make sure that if you are on the most stable or on the most recent firmware versions, which is something we always recommend, that is working well for you. So if rolling back the firmware in the meantime has been working okay, I would kind of go off the record and say, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix. But I think I just want to kind of get a little bit of news as to if there is something going on with R7000s or if there's something that's going to come out that can help us out here.
He did ask maybe about upgrading his router. I mean, yeah, the R7000 is a slightly old router at this time. I mean, maybe going to one of our newer racks, routers would be a great idea there if he's worried about security. And you're also future proofing with Wi-Fi 6. But yeah, there's been some known issues, the R7000 and the newer firmwares. We've been working on them. We haven't been able to really pinpoint them down.
But yeah, no, thank you for the insight, Darren, because I think that's something that we'd love to just make sure that you guys are kept in the loop as well. So so stay tuned to our community. I believe the community.netgear.com, that's gonna have the most recent news as to rolling these out, the new firmware versions.
Yeah.
So stay tuned on there. If you don't have an account, we would recommend you just being a part of the community and staying tuned, just because that's where our latest updates to the firmware is going to be. But if you are looking to upgrade, again, the R7000, that is something we consider almost to like a legacy product. It is one of the most popular, or actually it is, I think, one of the biggest top sellers that we've always had, especially within the last few years. But if you're just gonna ask us here on the show, everything's moving towards Wi-Fi 6. There's everyone's working from home, so people's needs are a little bit different. There's a couple ways we can go about it.
Yep, and the R7000 was actually the very first Nighthawk router that we ever came out with.
Yeah.
So it has been out for many years at this point.
2012.
Yeah.
12.
So.
Oh my god.
Yeah, 8 years. That's pretty good lifespan for those.
Yeah.
So.
Perfect. Ricky, thank you for sending that in. So yeah, as of a couple days ago, I believe, we're rolling the firmware out. So just stay tuned. I know you've had a look at the NETGEAR forums, but I think along with a couple other folks, we'll be able to get you something out very shortly.
Yeah.
Cool. We got one from Brendan. Asked the app developers make a smart plug/plug icon for the device description, and also a smart speaker icon too. Let me see.
More icons, the better.
We're gonna get our app guys on that.
Yep.
I want to log back in, even though I actually took myself off the Wi-Fi just so I could maybe help out with the encoding a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got the same icon for each one.
Yep.
We'll
they do need more icons just to make it easier to delineate between which devices are which.
Perfect. But yeah, I mean, also for anyone who's new on the show, I think we've talked about in the past, we have something called the Idea Exchange Forum on netgear.community.com. So it's an active board where if you throw in your idea and it gets enough upvotes, it will legit be floated up to our product team. I believe there's still meetings that go on, I believe it was bi-weekly or monthly, to go over these new ideas that go onto the exchange board, and that's your best way to get heard. I've been in those meetings before, and it's pretty fun stuff to see what you guys come up with. So thank you.
Yep.
All right, we got something from Marcial. All right. He's running a Cat 5e from a CM1200 to an RX200. If I use a higher Cat cable, will that make a difference in performance?
Most likely not. The Cat 5e, if it's a quality cable and you're not buying it from a cheap off-brand cable manufacturer, should easily be able to support the max speeds from a CM1200 to the RX200. You might see a little bit of a speed increase, but I know that I have a 10 gig card in my PC that I have connected using Cat 6 up to a 10 gig switch and to my ReadyNAS that has 10 gig on it. And I first had the Cat 5e cables in there, did a speed transfer test with a large 10 gig file, and then I swapped over to the Cat 6 cables, did exactly the same speed test, and I got exactly the same speeds out of it. So the cable itself was not a limiting factor there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so really you got nothing, there's nothing to lose, but in reality also the performance difference that you would probably get is minimal.
At
if
best,
it's even,
yeah.
at
At
best.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
luckily, Cat 6 cables aren't that expensive now. Compared to the Cat 5 and 5E, they're still a lot more expensive. But as far as actual costs, Cat 6 cables aren't that bad. When I purchased mine, I think I purchased them in a bundle of 5 for something like $20 or $25, so they weren't bad.
Yeah,
perfect.
That's pretty decent.
Hey, again, it's better than me. I don't even know what cables I'm running, so honestly...
I'm sure they're all Cat 5 cables that came with devices that you purchased in the past and you just kept storing them up.
Oh, easily. So it's good that you guys are aware of what cables you do have and the cables that are out there, because I think that's probably a top percentage compared to a lot of other folks, including me. But yeah, try it out. I mean, if you're really trying to get the most juice out, let us know if you're running into any crazy issues there, and then we'll be happy to help. Just kind of going back to Ross. So yeah, I hear you. We hear you. I would just say that our product team, despite the number of products that they are working on, the R7000 is one of our most popular. So if you're running into issues and a couple of other people in the community are, rest assured we would likely be able to get it fixed for you sooner rather than later. So this shouldn't be the case for a few more days, I would say. But in case you're running into more issues next week, please come back, and then you could yell at me saying nothing's fixed. But we'll keep you posted on that one.
Got a little less than 20 minutes left, so get your
yeah.
questions in.
Yeah, there's 20 guys that are in the chat. Let us know how you guys are doing. How's your day?
Yep.
What you want to see from us, because we got a pretty busy schedule ahead of us in terms of what we got going on. I'm personally excited for the virtual events you got going on for next Tuesday. We're gonna see if we're gonna bring Alec back in for next Friday for Tech Support Live. But otherwise, yeah, if there's something that you want to see from us, hey, this is your time. This is the whole forum. This is your best way to get your word in and get yourself heard.
Yep. Do you want Angelo or do you want
Right? We need to have a voting here, where they can
vote in here?
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Who do they want?
Oh no!
Not those thumbs. Yep. Oh, and also on Ross, if you decide to upgrade to another router, you can always keep the R7000 with the stable firmware that you have on it, sort of as a backup, because if something untoward happens with your new router, power surge that kills the router, any number of things, it's always good to have one backup in the closet that you can quickly plug in and get your network up and running, just so you're not having a lot of that downtime. And since my girlfriend works from home most of the time along with me now, I have to make sure that my network is always up. So if, God forbid, the main router went down, I have a router already ready, already prepped to go in. I just unplug, plug the old router in, and things are back up and running.
That's a very, very great suggestion. And my backup router is, drum roll, an R7000.
Yep.
It's the trusty one. It's classic.
Yeah, it hasn't been upgraded, dated in a while, but it does have a stable firmware. It'll at least get me onto the internet and back in the, up, where I can then go and troubleshoot out the other one. But yeah, that's actually a really good idea of, because people are like, well, what do I do with this? Like, now I got a new router. What do I do with my old one?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't necessarily.
It's always good to have one backup. Just
always good to have a backup.
Mm-hmm. No, I do agree. I think I do actually have. I think it's the R6900P or the R7000P. Wow, I think we all have the same the same kind of backups.
Yes.
But yeah, once I got the RX200, it's so hard for me to even imagine going back to anything even less spec'd. So I'm telling you, Wi-Fi 6, that's where I am happy, and it's just, I love having Tribe in, and I love just being able to just have people come over and just be like, hey, what's your internet? I not really having to tell them, don't go on it too much or something like that. It just works. That's kind of how I run it. We got Brendan, so he's got question about the R8000. So I notice only I ever see one of my 5 gigahertz bands on my tri-band router, but never both at the same time. I have named them 5 gigahertz channel 1, 5 gigahertz channel 2. Should I see both 5 gigahertz? It could be one or the other, but never both at the same time. It's interesting.
Yes, you should actually be able to see both of them at the same time, but it's possible that the channel that they're on is one of the DFS channels that can be automatically turned off if the router finds out that there's signals coming from like an airport, hospitals. Those particular channels can they get priority to places like airports and hospitals, and then the router is supposed to automatically switch to something else. One thing you can try is to change the channels on your 5 gigahertz band to the lower channels. I'd have to look up the numbers, but if you set one to one of the lower band channels, then the other to another of the lower band channels, you should be able to see both of them at the same time. And if you don't, then there might be a problem with the firmware or the router itself that needs to be looked into. But the first thing I do is I change the channels that each of those 5 gigahertz bands are on. And don't use the high-end channels, use the lower-end channels.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just kind of curious. I'm wondering if there's an extender, like a tri-band extender, that it could be possibly plugged into. I forgot if you had an EX7000 or another extender, but in case a tri-band... I'm trying to imagine a case where there's a tri-band expander plugged into the setup and it's using one of the bands as the backhaul. Does that have a difference?
Yeah, it shouldn't, because when you're doing the Nighthawk mesh as opposed to the Orbi mesh, it will actually switch between any of the any of the bands for the backhaul. It doesn't take one of the bands and say this is going to be the backhaul at any one time. It basically says this one's free right now, we're going to use that as a backhaul. Then we switch over to another one when that's free, so it switches back and forth. So you should always see all the channels at the same time. Not like with Orbi, where it actually uses one of the 5 gigahertz channels as a dedicated backhaul, in which case you never see it, because that one's only being used to talk between the Orbis.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and I would have said Smart Connect was turned on here, but he can actually see the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz as separate channels. Mm-hmm. You could go in, check, make sure that it isn't some weird quirky thing with Smart Connect, that it's on, and you shouldn't actually be seeing the 2.4. But most likely it's turned off, and it has more to do with the 5 gigahertz, both channels that they're on, as opposed to Smart Connect being on.
Mm-hmm. So Brendan's got 3.
A lot of extensions, a lot of switches.
R8000.
Yeah, it's a big system.
So he did put the lower band channels, so he said he put them to random numbers very high up.
Now, I wouldn't put them on high up, because the numbers on the 5 gigahertz high up, if the DFS channels have been turned on, and I believe they have on the current firmwares on the R8000, if they are the DFS channels, those can be intermittent, and the router should be switching you down to another channel. But if it picks up any radar or anything from hospitals or airports nearby, it will switch it off of that channel, and that might be causing a problem. So I would go for the lower channel numbers and not the higher channel as a test.
Okay. So yeah, Brennan, try out the lower channel numbers rather than high. That might be able to help you out a little bit more. Is there like a specific range that we would actually recommend instead of like random numbers? I don't know if that sounds right.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say random numbers, because you'll have a pick list on there. So you're not randomly choosing, you're picking whatever is actually available in the router. And let me do a quick check here for the best bands for them to be on. Let's see. For 5 gigahertz, the best channels are 36, 40, 48, and 44.
36, 48, and 44. 36, 48.
Those are the best. 36, 40, 44, 48. Yep.
Wow. You can make a song out of that to help you remember that.
Good.
Yeah, with a good beat.
Yeah. And that's for the 5 gigahertz channel, correct? Or
that's for the 5 gigahertz channel. Yep.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, try it out. 38, 36, 48, 36, 40, 44, 48.
And 48. Yep.
Okay, cool. Also, Brendan, I'm curious to see if you said you only see one or the other, but is it channel 1 and then that'll go out and then channel 2, or like is it only one that you see all the time? Just trying to be able to kind of diagnose.
Right, is it randomly going out?
Yeah.
Do both of them ever go out at the same time?
Yeah, that's a good question there.
There you go. Yeah, because if both are going out, that does sound like a weird issue. 36, 48, and 44. 36, 48, 44. That seems like that's what you're telling us that's what it's currently set to. Is that correct, Brendan? Or is it 36, 40, 44?
No, I think he was asking what's the lowest numbers I can pick, and then he went and looked and put those numbers in, which match up 36, 40, 44, and then 48. Yep.
Cool. Let's see what I can do here. 36, 40, 44. Is that correct?
36, 40, 44, and 48. And he says never both of them go out. Does only one of them always go out, or does it switch between the two of them going out? Like sometimes the 5 gigahertz band 1 goes out, and sometimes 2 goes out, or is it always just 1?
Man, Brandon's getting the VIP experience here.
Yep.
No. Well, I'm getting... we got the time, so
we do got time.
Get your questions in.
Yeah, y'all got last about 10 minutes, or a little bit less than that. So anyone else wants to get any questions in, you gotta have to fight Brendan for it.
Yep. Da, 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 da. All right. Looks like we are ready for a filler question there, Angela.
I still feel like... wait.
Oh, there we go.
Before we get to it. Yeah, because I do have one that I think is pretty fun.
He only sees
one
channel.
And it seems like it's just random.
Into the weird. It's a random.
Yeah, if he's got 3 EX7000 extenders in there, possibly that's having some effect on it. That would probably be something that would be good to hand over to our support and have them double check with the engineer to find out if, because he has 3 different extenders on there, at any one time, are they trying to take over one of the 5 gigahertz bands?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's good. So
and then the other question is with the 3, are they daisy chaining 3? Is it possible that they're daisy chaining off of the other 2 extenders, and so you're seeing some weird signal stuff?
Yeah, and that might be possible, especially if when looking at the 5 gigahertz that you're actually seeing what's on one of the extenders and not what's actually on the router, or not seeing it, as the case may be.
Okay. So Brendan screen printed. Let's take a look at the topology here that you have going on in your network. I do think that there may be potential interference by having so many EX7000 extenders. I'm just trying to think if just based on the channels, if any of those extenders are on the same channels, would that have a difference there in terms of being able to see the Wi-Fi name and connecting to it?
It shouldn't, but there's possibly something, in the back-end code that when the extender's connected to it, when it's trying to talk to the extender, that kind of the extender takes over as opposed to leaving that signal free for you to connect to. Not sure how they're actually coding the extenders, but it is something worth looking into. Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, having 3 extenders in there, maybe there's a little bit of confusion going on there. Mm-hmm. Normally, you should be able to have 3 extenders, but we're just spitballing some possibilities that might have an effect.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So yeah, Brendan. It's good that we got this far as to kind of helping you out with all your products. It seems like you have something that's pretty fleshed out within your own kind of, I guess, topology here. I would actually recommend NETGEAR team at NETGEAR.com. If you throw hashtag stay connected. You send us all the details of your topology. You got the screen captures of your app or let's say, I don't know, like the device list. then we're going to be able to say, all right, hey, and then state the problem, as in the 5 gigahertz bands are randomly showing but also disappearing. That is an odd issue, so we'll be able to help you out there.
Yep, and also if they're putting in, how do you actually get the band to come back? Does it just automatically come back, or do you have to do anything to have it show back up, like rebooting the router? Any additional details for the troubleshooting would help. Yeah, and I see Brendan is going to try 2 different of the lower end channels and see if that has any effect.
Okay, yeah, definitely try the lower end channels, and yeah, keep us tuned in. I know we got about 5 minutes, so Dan Tuma, one, great to see that you're back in here, but we want to make sure that we get a response for you. So yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll ping Christine maybe either during the show or a little bit afterwards, just so we could get that follow-up in here. But thank you for getting back in contact with us, because if you're sending out these emails, we do want to make sure you are being heard. So we'll go ahead and follow up for you. We do have 5 minutes or 4 minutes to get Ellie or L. My NETGEAR XR500 OS is acting like the Ethernet is not connected. So my first thought is it something where you're trying to go to routerlogin.net and you can't connect? Or is this something where your entire XR500 is not connecting to the internet, as in any of your devices are not working? Awesome. Thank you, Brandon, for hitting that like.
Or one other possibility is, are they going into the OS and looking at attached devices, and none of the Ethernet devices are showing as attached devices?
That's a possibility as well.
That is a possibility. So a few possibilities here for you.
Yep, just a little more info as to what's happening.
Yeah. Okay.
Was it
a
yes?
Little bit more? Yes to what?
To number 1.
To which option?
Or number
which
2?
A, B, or C?
Number 3. A, B, or C. And just to lay down
a little bit
that.
And it can help.
Okay. Oh, trying to set up.
Trying to set up.
Gotcha. So, I think I know which step you're on. Is this when you are trying to get the modem, or sorry, you're trying to get the router to see the modem, and then it says internet not detected? Is that at which step you're on?
It goes full white. All the lights
All the lights are white, which means it should be completely booted up.
Yeah.
And if it's full white, then that means that it should be recognizing there's an internet connection.
But the login to the router says it's not connected.
Okay. So
yeah, one of the things to check is what type of connection do you actually have? How are you actually connecting up to your ISP? Is it DSL? Is it standard cable? If it's DSL, then it's usually PPPoE, which means you've got to have put in a username and password, otherwise the connection won't happen. You can also go to the WAN connection in the admin screens and look and see if the information is actually being filled out for a WAN IP address and a gateway address. And if those things are blank, then it's at least letting us know that the router's not getting that information from your ISP. Possibly the setup didn't make it through properly, or there's something else that's going on. If that information is all filled out, then you shouldn't actually be getting the message saying that it isn't connected.
Yeah, so I think that's just kind of something we want to know is how are you connecting to it, and also, yes, DSL versus cable. I forgot if there's anything else in there that we needed to know.
The only other thing would actually be logging into the router and going to the WAN tab and seeing if the information for your internet connection actually is filled out. If it's all blank for your network connection, then you know it's not getting any information from the ISP. And at that point, you might want to try changing the cable between your router and your cable modem just to make sure there isn't a problem with the cable. Make sure the connection's in good. Yeah, if the connection's bad, then you wouldn't get any light on the router for the WAN port light. It would be completely blank. So everything could still be white on the router, but you that one light wouldn't be on.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that I kind of ran into, just one more thing, is once I'm setting up an Orbi Wi-Fi 6, I was stuck on the step to get internet not detected on it, and then apparently what I had to do was clear the MAC addresses out because it was getting confused because I actually plugged in actually a switch to the router and it was getting confused.
Yes.
So make sure you're completely blank and then keep it unplugged for a few minutes.
Right.
Yep.
Yep, and also that's a good one. If you already had a router set up and you're replacing the router, you absolutely want to make sure that you've turned your modem off, turn the router off, then wait, say 3-4 minutes, turn your modem back on, let it completely boot back up, then turn your router on, let it completely boot up, because a lot of times the modem will remember the MAC address of the last device that it was giving an IP address to, and then it won't be able to talk. And there are ways around that. You can actually clone your old MAC address, but that's a little bit more technical. So those are the 2 steps that you should do to start with.
Perfect. Yeah, so try it out. I do know that we're a little bit over time, but Ernesto, I do want to address you. You got a question? Just drop it in right now, and then we're gonna see if we can knock it out in a couple minutes. But this is the end of the show, guys. So for anyone who's been tuning in since the beginning, appreciate you, especially Shady Joker. I believe you were hanging in there for the entire time, so we appreciate that support.
Yep.
Ben, you got a request to hit up Juggernaut. Ernesto, so drop in your question pretty much as soon as you can, and we'll be able to help you out. But otherwise, everyone else, we're just going to help you out, Ernesto, for our last time. But everyone else, we do have another show for next week. We do Friday streams, 12 o'clock to 2 p.m. Pacific time. Throw in your questions, and we'll be able to help you out as pretty much as long as you guys keep coming back. And Ernesto, I see your question that came in. I think this is the last one.
Yep, that's a common question. There is sort of an easy answer for that. Basically, Orbi is designed to be as touchless as possible, as easy for users to use, especially non-technical users. And so by it automatically merging the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz into a single SSID, the end user doesn't have to worry about picking, should I be connected to 2.4 at this time? Should I be connected to the 5 gigahertz at this time? If you actually need to have those separated, then it's recommended instead use a standard Nighthawk router, and you can use a Nighthawk mesh extender onto it, but that'll have a separate 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. Most of the time you don't need that, but if your situation does require it, then it's recommended use a standard Nighthawk router and Nighthawk mesh extender instead of going with Orbi. Orbi is designed more for the novice user.
Yep. For sure. So yeah, no, that's a great question. But that's why we got a couple options for you. So Nighthawk mesh, we got Wi-Fi 6 that came out for that one, as well as buying a mesh extender. So we got a couple options there for mesh on the Nighthawk side. But yeah, as Michael mentioned, Orbi is great for set and forget it kind of folks who do want to only have one SSID because that's what they prefer. It's all preference.
Right.
Perfect. All right. Well,
another great show.
Yeah, no, thank you everyone who have participated in the chat. We'd love to hear from you guys. We get to kind of flex our, I guess, our brain power at the end of this Friday. So, thank you, Ben, Michael, Darren, for being our host for this week.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Angelo, for hosting.
Yep.
No, appreciate it.
And thanks everybody. Fun weekend.
Awesome.
Yeah, everybody in the chat. Thanks for your great comments, questions. One more plea to give us a like, and thank you, and have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Yep.
Awesome. We'll see you guys. Peace out.